Hi, it's Brian and welcome back to Prater, and today we're going to be going over if we had to change belts on one of our fine grinders. Basically, before we go ahead and start, if anything of opening up any guards or any doors on any of your machines, please make sure that you go ahead and lock everything out, make sure that it's de-energized so that we're not running any risk of having our hands anywhere near anything that could potentially turn on while we're trying to do our maintenance on them. Once our machine is properly locked out and tagged out, we're going to go ahead and simply lift this guard. On most of our guards, so that it's not hanging up like this, we could simply tap on it and it's going to slide off the hinges. Once the guard slides off, we can take it off to the side, set it down. Now the belts are already off on this one because we're just basically going to go over is if we had to go ahead and install brand new belts. So if we were going to go ahead and start installing brand new belts, one thing that we use when installing belts and getting to that point, we have laser aligning tool that we simply go ahead and put onto our pulleys. Once we get our pulleys lined up with the laser aligner, we're going to go ahead and make sure that our pulleys are still square with each other, because if they're not, maybe we have to make an adjustment either on that one or the one on the motor. These ones showing that it's right there in the center, so we can go ahead and proceed to installing our belts. Now on this too, you also want to make sure that you're being careful and watching what you're doing, because it can be very easy to get your fingers caught up in a pinch point. So right now, these are a little bit too tight, and if we don't want to run the risk of trying to walk them on by hand, you want to step around on this side. Now if we needed to, with our motor mounts, we can go ahead and loosen on this two on that side and that side, and we have an adjustment here on the motor mount itself so that we can either loosen it or tighten it depending on whichever we're trying to do. Now in this application, what we're trying to do is we're going to go ahead and loosen that, and we're going to go ahead and push the motor that way, so that way it's a little bit easier for us to get the belts on there. Now I didn't go ahead and put all the belts on. I'm just going to give you an example. Now that we have our belts on, now if we wanted to go ahead and check our belt tension, we have a belt tensioning tool here. This one is Dodge V-belt tensioner test. There's multiple different ones out there on the market that you can get to do the same job. This one we're specifically using. What's nice about it is it has a chart on the back depending on whatever size belts you're using, and then you can basically match it up with the speed range, the diameter of the pulley that you're using, and then you just have to figure out what the deflection force in pounds for the drive speed ratio, meaning what is the ratio between these two. Once you have all that figured out, basically with the belt tensioning tool, you're going to make sure it's set up to 0 on there. And then whatever our inches in span is, meaning from center line to center line, that's going to be our distance that we're going to go ahead and set up on our tensioning tool. And once we get it set to that, simply going to bring it on to that second one. And basically push down. And once you push down on it, then it's going to give you a reference of how many pounds based off of where that ended up. We're going to refer back to our chart, and then we're going to make sure that we're within the specification as far as the proper tightness for those belts based off of this manufacturer for this belt tensioning tool.